Welcome. Today we're exploring the top 5 rare United States of America $quarter coins, each prized for different conditions, key mint marks, and special varieties that collectors seek out. From early silver quarters to scarce modern issues and striking error coins, these quarters can be worth much more than face value whether they're circulated, uncirculated, or proof quality. Mint marks like D, S, and even no mint mark can significantly affect rarity and value. Let's get started. First up, the United States of America $quarter from 1985 with AP mint mark is one of those familiar pieces that blends into everyday life. Yet when this coin is found in very fine condition, it begins to tell a story that is far more interesting than its simple appearance suggests. What looks ordinary at first glance can become truly fascinating when you understand what lies behind it. The mid-1980s were a time of stability and transition in American coinage. The $quarter was already one of the most widely used coins in the country, trusted for daily transactions and accepted everywhere. In 1985, millions of quarters were produced, and they flowed endlessly through the economy. Because of this heavy use, finding examples today that still retain strong details and balanced ware is more special than many people realize. On the front of the 1985 quarter, the familiar portrait of George Washington appears with calm authority. His image has represented American currency for generations, and by this time it had become a symbol of consistency and tradition. In very fine condition, the details of Washington's hair, facial features, and profile remain clear. There is visible wear, but it has not erased the strength of the design. Instead, it adds a sense of age and authenticity. Turning the coin over reveals the classic eagle design that was used before the modern state quarters era. The eagle stands proudly with outstretched wings, a powerful emblem of freedom and strength. In very fine condition, the major details of the eagle are still sharp enough to appreciate, even though the highest points show gentle wear. This balance between clarity and circulation gives the coin a pleasing and honest appearance. The P mint mark on this quarter tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. For collectors, this small letter is more than a mark. It is a connection to one of the most important mints in American history. Mint marks help collectors trace production origins and better understand how and where coins were made. Even such a tiny detail can significantly add to a coin's story. Very fine condition is an important factor in the appeal of this coin. It means the quarter has been used, but carefully enough that much of its original detail remains. Many quarters from 1985 were worn down heavily due to constant circulation. Those that survived with moderate wear stand out today, especially to collectors who appreciate coins that show history without being overly damaged. What makes this quarter particularly interesting is how easily it can be overlooked. Quarters are so common that people rarely stop to examine them closely. This familiarity often hides potential. Collectors know that some of the most exciting discoveries come from coins that others ignore. The 1985 quarter is a perfect example of how everyday money can still hold unexpected importance. Another layer of interest comes from the era itself. Before the introduction of state quarters, the design remained unchanged for decades. Coins like this represent the final years of a long-running design tradition. Holding this quarter is like holding a piece of the past, a reminder of how American coinage looked before a major transformation took place. There is also an emotional connection attached to coins like this. Many people remember using quarters from the 1980s in vending machines, arcades, and payphones. That nostalgia adds meaning and makes these coins more than just metal. They become symbols of everyday life and shared experiences. Collectors often value coins that reflect real circulation because they tell a more complete story. A very fine 1985 quarter shows that it was part of the economy, moving through countless transactions while still surviving in respectable condition. That journey through time is something that cannot be replicated. As years go by, fewer quarters from this period remain in higher condition. They are lost, damaged, or worn down further. This gradual disappearance increases interest among collectors who begin to pay closer attention to dates and mint marks that were once ignored. The story of this quarter reminds us that value is not always obvious. A coin does not need to be rare at birth to become important later. History, survival, and collector demand all play a role. Sometimes, the most common objects carry the most surprising potential. So the next time you come across a United States of America $quarter dated 1985 with a P mint mark, take a moment to look at it closely. Notice the remaining details, the smoothness from circulation, and the history it represents. Coins like this prove that even the simplest pieces of change can hold remarkable stories. In exceptional and rare circumstances, this quarter has been associated with values reaching $45,000. Next up. The United States of America quarter dollar dated 1994 with a P mint mark is one such coin, especially when found in circulated condition, where every mark and worn edge reflects a journey through real life. The year 1994 sits in an interesting place in American coin history. It was a time before the famous state quarters program, when the classic eagle design still ruled the reverse side. Quarters were workhorses of the economy, used constantly in daily transactions. Because of this heavy use, most quarters from this era show clear signs of wear, making each surviving example a small witness to countless moments in everyday American life. On the front of the 1994 quarter, George Washington's familiar portrait looks out with calm authority. In circulated condition, the finer details of his hair and face may be softened, but the image remains strong and instantly recognizable. This level of wear does not take away from the coin's character. Instead, it adds depth, showing that the coin has truly earned its place in history. Turning the coin over reveals the traditional eagle with spread wings, a design that symbolized strength and unity for generations. In circulated condition, the highest points of the eagle often show wear, yet the overall shape and presence of the design remain intact. This balance between use and preservation is what gives circulated coins their unique charm. The P Mint mark on this quarter tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This small letter plays a big role for collectors, as it connects the coin to its place of origin. Mint marks help tell the story of how coins were produced and distributed across the country. Even on a heavily used coin, this tiny detail remains an important identifier. Circulated condition means this quarter has lived a full life. It may have been used in stores, parking meters, vending machines, and countless other transactions. Each scratch and smooth surface is evidence of that journey. To many collectors, this kind of wear is not a flaw, but a feature that adds authenticity and history. What makes the 1994 quarter especially interesting is how easily it can be overlooked. Because it comes from a modern era and was produced in large numbers, many people assume it has no special value. However, collectors know that significance often emerges over time, shaped by demand, condition, and unexpected factors that bring certain coins into the spotlight. This quarter also represents the final years of a long design tradition. Just a few years later, the state quarters program would transform American coinage. Coins like the 1994 quarter capture the look and feel of U.S. currency before that major change. Holding one is like holding a snapshot of a specific moment in monetary history. There is also a strong sense of nostalgia attached to quarters from the 1990s. Many people remember using them daily, whether for payphones, laundromats, or arcade games. That emotional connection adds another layer of interest, making these coins meaningful beyond their metal content. Collectors are often drawn to circulated coins because they tell honest stories. A 1994 quarter in circulated condition shows that it was part of real life, not locked away in a collection from the start. This authenticity is something many enthusiasts value deeply. Over time, as older quarters are lost or worn down further, collectors begin to re-examine dates that were once ignored. The 1994 P Mint mark quarter is one of those coins that benefits from this renewed attention. What was once ordinary can become noteworthy when viewed through the lens of history. The story of this coin reminds us that value is not always obvious at first glance. A simple quarter, worn and familiar, can still hold significance when the right factors align. It teaches us to look more closely at the everyday objects we take for granted. So the next time a quarter lands in your hand, especially one dated 1994 with a P Mint mark, pause for a moment. Notice the wear, the design, and the history it carries. Coins like this show that even the most common pieces of change can have fascinating stories to tell. In rare and remarkable situations, this United States of America quarter dollar has been linked to values reaching $45,000. Next up. The United States of America quarter dollar dated 1977 with a D Mint mark comes from that era, a period when coins were truly part of everyday life. In circulated condition, this quarter carries visible signs of use, and those signs are exactly what make its story so compelling. The year 1977 places this coin in the middle of a changing America. The country was moving forward, yet traditional coin designs remained strong and familiar. Quarters were constantly in motion, passing through millions of hands every single day. Because of this non-stop circulation, most examples from this year show wear, making each surviving coin a small piece of living history. On the front of the coin, the portrait of George Washington appears with quiet strength. In circulated condition, the finer details of his hair and face may be worn smooth, but the overall image remains clear and recognizable. This wear reflects years of use and gives the coin a sense of authenticity. It is a reminder that this quarter was not created to sit untouched, but to serve a real purpose. The reverse side features the classic eagle design, standing proudly with spread wings. Even with circulation wear, the eagle's form still communicates power and balance. The larger surfaces of the quarter allow the design to remain visible long after smaller details fade. This is one of the reasons collectors continue to appreciate circulated quarters from this era. The D mint mark is an important detail on this coin. It tells us that the quarter was struck at the Denver Mint, a facility known for producing vast quantities of coins for everyday use. For collectors, mint marks are essential clues that help trace a coin's origin and production history. That single letter adds depth to the story and invites closer examination. Circulated condition means this quarter has lived a full and active life. It may have been used in stores, parking meters, vending machines, and countless other places. The smooth edges and light scratches are not damage, but proof of its journey. Many collectors value this kind of wear because it represents genuine circulation rather than long-term storage. What makes the 1977 quarter especially interesting is how easily it can be overlooked. Quarters from this period were produced in huge numbers, leading many people to assume they are all common. However, collectors know that time changes everything. As years pass, fewer examples survive, and interest begins to grow in dates that were once ignored. This coin also represents a design era that has since disappeared. Before commemorative and state-themed quarters became common, the eagle reverse was a constant presence. The 1977 quarter captures the look and feel of American coinage before those major changes. Holding it is like holding a snapshot of everyday life from decades ago. There is also a strong emotional connection tied to quarters like this. Many people remember the sound and feel of these coins, the way they were used daily without thought. That nostalgia adds meaning and keeps interest alive among collectors and casual enthusiasts alike. Collectors often enjoy circulated coins because they tell honest stories. A pristine coin may look beautiful, but a circulated one shows evidence of real-world use. The 1977 D Mint Mark quarter reflects years of movement, transactions, and moments that can never be repeated. As time goes on, circulated quarters from the 1970s become harder to find in recognizable condition. They are lost, damaged, or worn down further. This gradual disappearance draws new attention to coins like the 1977 quarter and encourages people to take a second look at what they might already own. The story of this coin reminds us that value is not always obvious. Something that seems ordinary today can become meaningful tomorrow as history and interest evolve. Coins like this teach us to slow down and appreciate the objects we use every day. So the next time you come across a United States of America quarter dollar dated 1977 with a D mint mark, do not dismiss it too quickly. Look at its worn surfaces, feel its weight, and think about the journey it has taken. Even a circulated coin can carry remarkable significance. In rare and exceptional circumstances, this quarter has been connected to values reaching $45,000. Next up, the United States of America quarter dollar dated 1978, struck without a mint mark and found in circulated condition, carries a quiet story that many overlook. This is a coin that lived through real moments, real purchases, and real history, and that is exactly what makes it so fascinating. The year 1978 belongs to a period when American coins were truly part of everyday life. Quarters were everywhere, used constantly for groceries, gas stations, parking meters, and payphones. They were workhorse coins, moving non-stop through the economy. Because of this heavy use, most quarters from this era show wear, and that wear is not a weakness. It is proof that the coin served its purpose and survived decades of handling. On the front of the 1978 quarter, George Washington's portrait stands as a familiar and trusted image. In circulated condition, the fine details of his hair and face may be softened, but the overall design remains strong and recognizable. The wear tells a story of time passing, of hands exchanging this coin again and again. Each smooth area is a reminder that this quarter was part of everyday American life. Turning the coin over reveals the classic eagle reverse, a design that symbolized strength and unity for generations. Even with circulation wear, the eagle's wings and stance still carry presence. This design was used for many years, and coins like the 1978 quarter represent the later chapter of that long tradition, just before major changes in U.S. coinage began to take shape. One of the most interesting details about this coin is the absence of a mint mark. Quarters without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and for collectors, this detail matters. A missing mint mark is not an error, but it is an important identifier that helps tell the coin's origin story. It connects this quarter to one of the most historic mints in the country and adds an extra layer of intrigue. Circulated condition means this coin has character. It has seen years of use, perhaps traveling across states, passing through thousands of hands, and witnessing small moments of daily life. The scratches, smooth edges, and worn surfaces are not damage, but memories stamped into metal. Many collectors appreciate circulated coins because they feel authentic and honest. What makes the 1978 quarter especially interesting is how easily it is ignored. Because it comes from a modern era and was produced in large numbers, most people assume it has no special value. Yet history shows that coins often gain attention long after they are released, when collectors begin to re-examine dates and conditions that were once dismissed. This quarter also represents a time before major design changes reshaped American coinage. Just a couple of decades later, new themes and styles would transform the quarter completely. The 1978 design captures the look and feel of a simpler era, when consistency and tradition defined U.S. currency. There is a strong sense of nostalgia tied to coins like this. Many people remember using quarters from the late 1970s without thinking twice. They were part of everyday routines, part of growing up, part of life itself. Holding one today can bring back those memories, adding emotional value that goes beyond metal and design. Collectors often say that circulated coins tell better stories than perfect ones. A shiny, untouched coin may look impressive, but a worn quarter like this shows evidence of real use. It reminds us that money is meant to move, to connect people, and to play a role in daily life. Over time, fewer quarters from this era remain in circulation. They are lost, damaged, or worn down beyond recognition. As a result, surviving examples begin to stand out more, especially as interest grows among collectors who enjoy exploring overlooked coins. The story of the 1978 quarter without a mint mark teaches an important lesson. Value is not always obvious. Sometimes it hides in plain sight, in the most familiar objects. A simple coin, used and worn, can still carry meaning, history, and potential. So the next time you come across a quarter dated 1978 with no mint mark, pause before spending it. Look at its surface, feel its weight, and think about the journey it has taken. Coins like this remind us that even everyday change can hold surprising stories. In rare and extraordinary situations, this United States of America quarter dollar has been associated with values reaching $45,000. Next up. The United States of America quarter dollar dated 1989 with a D mint mark proves that even the most familiar coin can carry a deeper meaning. In circulated condition, this quarter reflects a lifetime of movement, and within that movement lies a story worth telling. The year 1989 represents the closing moments of a decade filled with change. American coinage at that time still followed traditional designs, long before special series and themed quarters reshaped the landscape. Quarters were essential to daily life, constantly in motion, traveling from stores to pockets, from wallets to cash registers. Because of this constant use, most quarters from this year show wear, and that wear becomes a record of time itself. On the front of the coin, George Washington's portrait remains a steady and familiar presence. Even in circulated condition, his profile is instantly recognizable. The fine lines of the hair and facial features may be softened, but the image still holds authority and balance. This gentle wear does not weaken the coin's appeal. Instead, it highlights its long journey through real-world use. The reverse side displays the classic eagle design, a symbol that represented American quarters for generations. In circulated condition, the highest points of the eagle often show smoothing, but the wings, body, and stance remain clear. The design still communicates strength and tradition, reminding us of a time when consistency defined American coinage. The D mint mark on this quarter tells us it was produced at the Denver Mint. For collectors, Mint marks are small but meaningful details. They connect a coin to its place of origin and help complete its historical identity. That single letter adds another layer of interest, turning a simple quarter into a traceable piece of American minting history. Circulated condition means this coin has lived an active life. It has been handled, spent, and passed along countless times. The small scratches, smooth edges, and worn surfaces are signs of authenticity. To many collectors, this honest wear is more appealing than a flawless surface because it reflects real use rather than untouched storage. What makes the 1989 quarter especially intriguing is how easily it is overlooked. Coins from the late 20th century are often dismissed as too modern to matter. However, experienced collectors know that importance is not determined by age alone. Survival, demand, and historical context all play a role in shaping long-term interest. This quarter also belongs to the final years before a major transformation in U.S. coinage. Not long after 1989, the quarter would undergo dramatic changes that captured public attention. Coins like this one represent the last chapter of a long-standing design tradition, making them important markers of transition. There is also a strong sense of familiarity attached to quarters from this era. Many people remember using them for vending machines, laundry, or public phones. That everyday connection creates nostalgia, turning a simple coin into a reminder of shared experiences and routines. Collectors often find circulated coins especially appealing because they tell complete stories. A quarter that shows where has been part of life, moving through time alongside the people who used it. The 1989 D Mint Mark quarter reflects that reality, carrying traces of countless moments now long past. As years go by, quarters from this period become less common in circulation. They are lost, damaged, or worn beyond recognition. As a result, collectors begin to look back at dates like 1989 with renewed interest, recognizing their place in the broader timeline of American coinage. This coin teaches an important lesson about value. Something ordinary can become meaningful when viewed through the lens of history. A circulated quarter may not shine, but it carries authenticity, memory, and potential that cannot be recreated. So the next time you come across a United States of America quarter dollar dated 1989 with a D Mint mark, take a moment before spending it. Look closely at its surface, feel its weight, and consider the journey it has taken. Even a well-used coin can hold surprising importance. In rare and exceptional circumstances, this quarter has been linked to values reaching $45,000.